Servants fulfill every royal need. Their very existence is to make sure everything is done as their masters want it, when they want it, and as often as they need it. And Prince Charles is one of the most demanding.
Charles he has a particular dish he likes to eat when he goes out hunting, which is softly boiled eggs and Scotch whisky, waiting for him when he comes back. But of course, they never know when he's coming back. So a good half an hour before he's due back, they start boiling up a batch of 20 eggs for 3 minutes exactly. And then if he hasn't arrived in those 3 minutes, they throw them away. Then they start another batch and another batch, and you can get through 100 eggs before the Prince of Wales actually comes home.
These intimate details of royal lives are worth money. We love knowing about life behind the closed doors of the palaces, and now that Paul Burrell has made millions from his time with royals, servants know that their stories have a value.
Some people are quite happy to come to newspapers with the odd story here and there, exist, continue to work, treat it as a hobby if you like. Others want a big payday.
Every story has its value to a journalist in the right place to hear palace gossip.
Well, there was another example I was told by a senior footman where he served the Princess Royal, Princess Anne. He was asked to go into her apartment and carry out a menial task, which he basically messed up. You know, he went in to do it and got it wrong, and Princess Anne wasn't happy about it. Now, as he was leaving the room, he heard her mutter under her breath, "You f***ing incompetent."
But it's become such a market that we have to start to ask whether the stories we're being told are true. George Smith was a valet to Prince Charles, and he'd been selling stories for some time. It started with the story of him being raped, but it didn't end there. When the Mail on Sunday offered him more money, some say in the region of £50,000, the story he told them was extraordinary.
The main allegation was that George Smith had peeped into Prince Charles's bedroom and found him in a compromising position with a servant. If we're led to believe that the other member of staff was male, it's saying that the Prince of Wales is having a gay affair, which is a dynamite story. It's a huge story.
Normally, the Prince answered servants' stories with a dignified silence. But when this one escalated into an international scandal, he was forced to do something unprecedented. He issued a denial, through a servant, of course.
Even though I can't refer to the specifics of the allegation, that it's totally untrue and without a shred of substance.
I don't think it's true at all, no. I think George Smith is a fantasist who has a history of mental illness, alcoholism. He was just making totally unsubstantiated allegations.
When there are huge amounts of money at stake, servants can come under pressure to deliver.
George Smith's story was bought, if you like, by the Mail on Sunday, and he spent weeks and weeks and weeks with them being interviewed by their reporters. Well, by the end of it, he was so traumatised that he had a sort of complete collapse, physical and mental collapse, and he spent 2 or 3 weeks in a sanatorium recovering from all this. So you can't really place too much reliance on what George says about anything.
The value of a good story continues to rise, and if it's about the right royal, servants can name their own price.
Then there's going to be a lot of stories about Prince William and Prince Harry as they reach 30 and they've got girlfriends smuggling them into the palace, etc. And that's going to be a problem for the royal family because, like Diana, William and Harry have currency and people want to know what's going on in their lives.
Prince William has spent his life in a marketplace that enables servants to earn fortunes from their stories. He grew up with Paul Burrell's sons, but now feels betrayed by their father. So how will he deal with the problem of servants who get too close?
Well, Prince William certainly doesn't have any servants. He doesn't even acknowledge the fact that his title is His Royal Highness. He really wants to stay out of the limelight, and who can blame him after the experiences he's seen for his mother and his father?
But the threat posed by the ex-servant who knows them best won't go away.
You know what the royal family have to do? The royal family have to trust the man they trusted for 21 years. If anyone has reason to fear anything and to doubt their trust, it's Paul Burrell, because of the way he's been treated abominably for the past 6 years. Prince William and Prince Harry have nothing to fear from Paul Burrell just because he's written a book about one remarkable life story.
When you've used royal service to escape life in a poor mining village, How do you keep yourself in the style you've become accustomed to?
Now, if you imagine that Paul's maybe told maybe 15% of what he knows, and there's plenty of room for volume 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the mini-series, then Paul's career as a royal chronicler could go on for a very, very long time, and that's what they worry about.
At the moment, Princes William and Harry live independent lives, and that includes doing the menial tasks that servants have always done for their royal masters.
I mean, I don't know if you remember, there was a fascinating bit of footage, and it showed both the brothers and their father in a polo match, and Harry was having to brush a pair of boots he was borrowing, and everyone was laughing at him.
What? I always clean them. I played yesterday, I didn't have a chance. There was someone else to do it for you. Oh.
And his dig at his father was, yeah, at least I'm cleaning them myself, not like you. And that's exactly right. Charles would never, ever, ever think of cleaning his own shoes. But by the time Charles was William's age, he had a valet, a private secretary, under valets, driver. He had a pretty substantial staff all of his own. William doesn't have anyone. William has half of a secretary who he shares with Prince Harry, and his police bodyguards. That's it. And that's all he wants. Not interested.
Princes William and Harry trust their friends rather than servants.
Prince William will have a very different attitude to servants. I think we've already seen that forming. About 2 years ago, when Prince Harry was involved in drink and drug allegations at his country home at Highgrove, there was a friend who was alleged to have introduced him to drugs by the name of Guy Pelly. And the stories at the time said that Prince Charles told William and Harry, lose this friend, he's a bad influence, and they refused to do so. And a couple of months later, Guy Pelly was pictured alongside Harry and William at a rugby match. Now, what William has told his father is, Guy Pelly didn't go to the press, Guy Pelly didn't talk, it's the servants that talk, it's the servants that you can't trust, and they are deeply suspicious.
So it's you, Prince Charles.
But will Prince William be able to keep servants at the distance he wants when he gets to Buckingham Palace?
This is a young man that's got a pretty modern outlook on life, but he won't be allowed to have that for the rest of his life. And when he starts proper, formal royal duties, he's going to have a staff around him of private secretaries and valets and people like that, because it's difficult to run your official life if you haven't got people like that to do things for you. You can't suddenly turn up not shaven at a royal engagement. You've got to look the part. Otherwise, the royal family will start to fade in terms of its relevance and its style.
It seems there's a new attitude at the palace. They're starting to learn the lessons shown to them by their servants. Ryan Parry, the Mirror's undercover reporter, was sued under the terms of the confidentiality clause he'd signed. The newspaper was injuncted and the story stopped. No additional details could be published. The royal family are getting tough.
If they feel that members of their staff are betraying them, they will actively and aggressively pursue them. And I think by pursuing Ryan Parry, it's probably sent a very, very clear message to the staff that they're not going to be messed with, that they will take legal action, and they will, any profits that the servants make from writing a book or selling pictures or revealing, private details, they will track them down and they will get them.